Godfrey Mwambemwa, thank you for coming and welcome. Godfrey, you were born in Tanzania. You came to Kenya 20 years ago, but I think all our viewers would not register this name, Godfrey Mwambemwa, at all, but they would instantly know who you are if I said, welcome, Gado cartoonist, because to us you are Gado. I'm holding in my hand the book Crisis, What Crisis, forward by Kofi Annan, the latest tome of your cartoons in print. So we're going to talk about the craft of the cartoonist and what makes you tick. And the very first question I'd put to you is, how did Godfrey Mwambemwa become Gado?
When I came to Kenya and to Daily Nation, first I didn't have a work permit, and I just came as a student then. I was studying architecture in Dar es Salaam, and the editors were afraid of if I'm to use my name, then probably the authority would recognize that and inquire who I was, and so they suggested that I should use a pen name. And Gado is a pen name, rather a name, a boyhood name I used in soccer while playing soccer in Dar, and my friends would call me Gado, and I thought probably, well, I'll use it for a while.
You were a soccer player extraordinary at some point in your life.
Yes, I actually played quite soccer. No, but I played quite competitively in my school days, and
right.
Yeah.
So you were an architecture student who was cartooning for fun, and fun became the vacation became the vocation.
Yeah, I like to refer to myself as a failed architect, because I actually didn't finish my course. When I got the job, when I was confirmed by Nation, I left my job, or rather I left my studies, and I started working as an editorial cartoonist.
So you're trying to suggest to the viewer, all the young people watching us today, that you can make as much money as a cartoonist as you are an architect who designs the Kenyatta Conference.
On contrary, I actually always advise young people not at all to do what I did, or to try to do what I did. I don't think it's a good idea. I think my parents I have agonized a lot why I left my studies to start working, and I've promised them to finish my studies, and I'm still working on that.
Right. Okay. So that's by way of introduction. When I see you and I see the cartoons that you draw day in, day out, and you still seem to lead what might be called a normal life, where do you draw your inspiration from a day-to-day basis? Do you say in a setting such as this, the minute I finish this interview, I'm going to draw a cartoon of John and the camera crew and put a sting to it? I'm talking about the relentless daily grind, inspiration on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think the job of an editorial cartoonist is a 24/7 kind of job. I mean, it's not 9 to 5 kind of job, and so you draw inspiration from whoever you meet, wherever you go. And normally, and this goes to my colleagues, I mean, I sometimes work with my notebook, and so I would note things. Of course, you have to read a lot what's going on, and to be aware of your political and social environments. But when you meet people, you draw inspiration. When you walk in the streets, you draw inspiration. When you watch TV, when you read. So you have to be aware all the time. I mean, sometimes, yes, I think even, way at night, I think, you come up with ideas, and you wake up and start working.
There are people who would say that you have an agenda, and that there are some people whom you're out to rubbish on a daily basis, and you have targets. How do you respond to that?
I have an opinion, just like any other satirist or journalist. I don't think necessarily you have an agenda, but I, as a satirist, as a commentator, I have a position on issues, and I take position on issues, and so I comment based on that. Yes, my craft is confrontational and it offends people. It comes with the territory, and that's acceptable. I mean, unfortunately, somebody has to do it.
There's this tradition that I know from my researches that whatever cartoon that you might present that doesn't actually end up being seen in our newspapers, that particular cartoon you put up on Facebook, and so that people see it anyway. So, in other words, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to the internet these days, I think, it's difficult for editors to censor your work completely. It is fair sometimes for editors to feel jittery and not to publish certain drawings. But when they don't publish certain drawings, I put them online. I think it's fair.
Doesn't that put you in exactly the same category as the person who's putting out hate speech on Facebook and saying this is the forum in which to vent my frustrations against a certain ethnicity or a certain presidential contender? You can also put up something which from your chief editor who's saying this is not palatable. Where say, well, I don't care. Well, I'll put it up on my Facebook.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there is a case there. I think yes. I think sometimes editors would feel that this particular drawing is sensitive and probably might go beyond just offending people. But I think I have always argued that that's not necessarily up to editors to decide. I think. My craft again is confrontational, and sometimes yes, my drawings are viewed to be very offensive, and that's what exactly they should do. I don't think I go out of my way to do hate speech.
I didn't suggest you were. Or be in the same category as the person who says we're talking about social media and Facebook, because you're saying it's a wonderful avenue for self-expression, but it's totally. There's no editing, there's no censoring what goes out there. And I think it's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but also let's not the good thing about the internet distract us from the bad thing. Take away the good things about the internet. And I think yes, sometimes people have viewed that my drawings to be quite offensive, but I've not gone out of my way actually to do hate speech, and I've defended that right. That for me to put my drawing out there, there are people who have abused that right. I suppose, it's a very delicate issue, but. As far as I'm concerned, I think I would hate to see anybody censor, the online platform for all its evils. I think the good side of it.
You're saying that we all have a right to express whatever it is that we feel, and then it's for the rest of society to sift whether they agree or not.
I'm a true Voltairean. I believe, I will disagree with what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it.
No, that's Voltaire.
Exactly.
Voltaire is your hero. Right. Okay. So you're saying we're living in politically, at least, interesting times. We're moving towards an election on March the 4th. We remember vividly the events of 2007, 2008, and we are in dread of a recurrence. Do you feel that what you can do can in any way influence the outcome of a momentous thing such as the forthcoming election?
I think
you feel a responsibility.
I think I do in many ways, and I experienced that in the last elections. I worked through that elections. I think it is easy for commentators and satirists to comment about Congo, Gaza, and other areas, and which you can do that from afar. But when a crisis drops on your doorstep, then that becomes a totally different thing. And I experienced that during the last elections. And, yes, satirists, commentators have the responsibility to look at and not to inflame passions, but at the same time to do what they do best, which is to criticize, to offend, and to point out all the ills in our societies. It's a delicate task. I wouldn't want to run away from doing that just to appease, certain section of the population.